Hey guys, it's Nick from Far Out RV. So, doing a Winterize. Figured I'd throw this Fleetwood motorhome into the Winterize video idea. But one of the things I noticed right away was this guy has a petcock as a drain on his Atwood water heater. Now, I hate these things because they just don't allow enough water to flow out of it. And if there's any sediments or anything on the bottom of the tank, they're not going to come out of this. It's just going to trap them inside. So I'm actually going to take this stupid plug out and let it flow and drain out like it should. You know, how do you even know if all the water's out of there before you winterize? So usually on a Winterize, you know, the first thing I do is I drain the tanks, which is water heater, and usually I'll go around and look for the filler, the water filler. The water filler would be the closest point to the water tank. Usually any drain from the water tank would be really close to where the filler would be. So there's the inlet filler hose going into the freshwater tank. This freshwater tank's got 3/4 of a tank in it, and he's toting it around. For one, it's a lot of water weight. But so here's the drain on this one, nice big drain. Fleetwood was putting this PVC stuff in. A lot of the times we'd find these valves would get seized up, and then you'd have to cut the valve out, put a new valve in, but luckily this one works. So we're just going to let that drain for now because there's so much water in the tank. We don't want to disconnect the tank from the pump because we'll just get a whole bunch of water come at us. So this being, let's say 1-inch pipe, it won't take very long for it to drain, and then we'll find our pump. And one of the things I like to do too is I turn the pump on and listen for it, and then find out where it's located. Luckily, everything in this one is really nice and simple to get at. The pump is right here, so I don't have to go searching for it to turn it on. Usually that's what I do though. I turn it on and I listen for it, and I locate where it is. Usually it's in a compartment or a cabinet or under a bed or something, and really difficult to get at. This one is quite easy. So I'm going to disconnect the inlet side from the freshwater tank to the pump, and then put on a hose. But we're going to wait for this to drain. It's going to take a bit, so I'm just going to stop it for now. Alright, so it's almost done. It's almost empty. So I've disconnected the outlet from the tank, which is the inlet to the pump, the suction side of the pump. So that, you know, this is the pressure side, this is the suction side. So I've disconnected the one coming from the tank, and I've added my own hose that runs down here and goes into my jug of antifreeze. That way I can pump antifreeze through the whole system. So the next thing I do is I locate the water heater bypass. Now, most Canadian units will have a water heater bypass. And what that does is it prevents you from having to fill your water heater with 6 gallons of antifreeze in order to winterize the hot side of the system. Now, this is like a 2003 31W C-Class motorhome. I kind of looked for a while trying to find the bypass on this one, and I finally found it underneath the kitchen sink, right adjacent from the water heater itself. Is a valve on the back corner of the wall right here. This is a single valve system, so all you have to do is change it from normal flow to bypass. So on this one it's pretty easy. I just flipped it up a quarter turn, so now it's in bypass, so that way we can what it does is it bypasses the water heater, which the valve just links the cold to the hot so that water or antifreeze isn't going inside your water heater, and you can actually winterize the hot side of the system. So I've moved all of this client stuff out of the sinks and out of the way. The next thing you got to do is you got to find where the pump switch is. You have to be able to turn the water pump on. Oh, it's got one here, it's got one outside I've seen, and one in the bathroom as well. So we just go water pump on. And now the pump is on. Make sure you close your low point drain or you're pumping antifreeze all over the ground. So normally what would happen is you turn the pump on and you wouldn't actually get any suction from the pump until you open a valve. But I had a valve open, so it sucked and pumped it onto the ground right away. My bad. It happens. Antifreeze is pretty cheap. Don't worry about it. Okay, so turn the pump on. It'll pressurize the system. Now I've heard people say you need to go to the farthest point from the pump first. So open the tap set that is the farthest point from the pump. Now that being said, 9 times out of 10 the farthest run will be hot side for sure. But so the pump is over there in the back corner underneath the floor. The water heater is over here. And the outside shower is over here underneath the floor. So I would say the furthest run would be the outside shower outside, because the water has to go from there to the water heater over here and back over there to the outside shower. So we're gonna go to the outside shower and run the hot and cold out of that first until we see pink, and then come back inside and run the rest. Normally, a Winterize should only take a couple jugs of antifreeze. Antifreeze is the only way to guarantee that you've actually winterized it properly. So over here is the outside shower right here. We're going to turn on the hot and the cold until we see pink. So hot on, pump running, lots of water. Just had another client show up here. Right? Get the hot side pink. There we go. That's pink. It's turning the water foamy. It's pink. Going on to the next would be the cold side. And usually as soon as you see pink, you just want to shut it off. You don't want to spray a whole bunch of stuff all over, but because you're doing the other side, the hot and then the cold, and that's why. So we're out of that first jug already. But that's only because we've actually ran probably, let's say 80% of the water out of the water system. So we'll change the jug and we'll continue to do the inside sinks and shower. So where are we now? You know, start a Winterize, fix the fridge in between, finish a Winterize. So, okay, so first jug is pretty much empty. Second jug is now got our trusty little hose inside of it, and we're gonna go inside now and do the sinks and the shower, etc, etc, etc. So most of it's been run past or run through by now. I would say the next furthest run, maybe the toilet. Let's do cold side toilet. Water, water, water. Oh, just going pink. Well, hey, pump's catching up. Yeah, pink. Now there isn't any traps or anything. You don't have to put any antifreeze in the black water tank and the poop tank. So then we'll just open up each tap set until it just turns pink, because then you need to run the other side. So pink, pink, and I usually run them twice again. Boom, boom, just to be sure we got lots of water, or lots of antifreeze down the trap. Right, rinse the water out of the trap. Get antifreeze down the trap. Shower, just like the outside shower, identical to, even. So we just turn on the hot real quick. Oh, the shower head's shut off. We get hot on. Oh, wow, spraying all over. Shut it off after it just starts turning pink, because now when we turn the cold water on, it's going to push out a bit of water before it pushes out the antifreeze. And in doing so, we'll end up rinsing more water back down through the trap again. So there we go, it's pink. Pink. Yeah. Lots of pink. Now I'm going to let it drain down the drain as much as it can, and then I'm going to come back and wipe it down with a rag after. So that is bathroom sink and toilet, shower, and now kitchen sink. We've already done the outside shower. So hot water. Oh. Just turns pink, shut it off. Cold water, water just turns pink, shut it off. Done. Same thing with the sprayer. Turn it on, push the sprayer button, get all your, all the water out. A little bit more antifreeze down the trap. Done. Now this motorhome doesn't have an ice maker in the fridge, so we don't have to worry about fridge winterizing. That's pretty much it. And it should literally take you half an hour. If you've done it before, you know where everything is. You should be able to just hook it up, run some antifreeze through it, winterize the thing. Sometimes I'll actually take the leftover antifreeze in the jug instead of having, you know, all these empty jugs or partly empty jugs kicking around. I'll actually take and dump them down the traps, and at the same time pump the rest out of the hose. Clean up your mess, guys. Sometimes some of these antifreezes can actually stain some of the plastic parts in your RV, like plastic sinks and plastic bases and that. So it's a good idea to just, you know, wipe them out when you're done. So I've taken my little trusty hose off of the pump. I'm going to shut the pump off and then return the suction side of the water tank. You're going to put that back on, and you're going to leave the water heater in bypass so that when you summerize or de-winterize, all you need to do is put water. But we'll go over that. Maybe I'll do a summarize video in the spring.